Well, today, everybody, we're going to check out the Chug EQ Boost pedal from Solar Guitars. I'm so stoked to share this pedal with you all. Let's get into it. Let's start this video off with a nice, awesome, heavy, full-on mix and jam. The following was recorded with this pedal in front of the STL Tonality Will Putney Suite with my Stratocaster tuned down to drop C, and it sounds a little something like this. So before we go any further, this video is not sponsored by Solar Guitars or Ola or anybody. Solar Guitars did reach out to me and say, hey, would you want to check one of these pedals out and just have it for your collection? And obviously I said yes, because I love Solar Guitars so much, and anytime they come out with a new product, I'm on board, okay? However, they're not asking me to do or say anything. I just want to share this pedal with you all, hang out with you guys, talk about guitar tones, how to record your guitar, and just how maybe you could potentially manipulate your signal and your sound using this pedal, okay? So, this pedal is not a distortion pedal or an overdrive pedal, it's an EQ boost pedal. In case you're unfamiliar with what that is, it's taking, in this instance, specific frequencies and bands and cutting them or slamming them in the front of your amplifier, or cutting them or boosting them in the effects loop of your amplifier. For me, I love these pedals in front of amplifiers. So my signal chain would be guitar, pedal, interface, and or amplifier, okay? So taking a look at the pedal, we have low, mids, and highs, and then we also have input and output. So basically you have the ability to dial in your low frequency, your mid frequency, and your high frequency, how narrow or wide you want the band to be, what frequency you want to manipulate, and depending on what you want to do with your signal, you can choose to cut that signal or that frequency and or boost that frequency. So I already recorded me just jamming with this pedal and walking you guys through this pedal. But again, I'm more interested in using this pedal in front of my amplifier, or in my instance specifically, my interface, because I use plugins anytime I'm recording original music or making mixes anymore. Plugins are my favorite thing, so I'm using an analog pedal in front of an amp sim. All right, everybody, so let's check out the Chug EQ Boost pedal. So what I'm using today is my Stratocaster tuned down to drop C, going right into the Chug EQ Boost, and then going into my interface. I'm using the amp sim, the STL Tonality Will Putney Suite from STL Tones, an old school amp sim that nobody really uses anymore. I'm bringing it back. And that's pretty much it. So let's check out my guitar sound without the pedal engaged. So I have the noise gate on really, really tight, and not a lot of gain on my amp sim, because now we rock.
Let's rock!
This thing is slamming the front of my interface, and it sounds really, really good. So basically, man, I'm sure you guys have seen videos on this pedal, but in case you haven't, you have the ability to dial in certain frequencies, and in this instance, slam certain frequencies into my interface, therefore affecting how the amp sim sounds. You can also put this pedal, like if you have a real amplifier, in the effects loop, and that'll drastically change the entirety of your guitar tone. But for this is just impacting what frequencies are going into the front of my amp sim, or if you had a real amplifier, what frequencies are slamming into the front of your amplifier. So I'm using this essentially as like a mid boost pedal, kind of like a boost pedal, kind of like an overdrive pedal, however you want to word it. Not really overdrive in the sense that there's not distortion, but you get the idea. Same concept. We're just slamming the front of my amp. So basically, in my opinion, the most important frequencies for me are the low end or lack thereof, and the mid range. So check this out when I dial in the mid range. Kind of sounds like a wah-wah pedal. So that could be like a desired effect if you want. Like if you wanted to have like almost like a lo-fi type of sound, kind of like a dropout in one of your tracks or something like that, you could do that. For me, I want to have like a mid boost. Maybe not that drastic, so I'm going to change the bandwidth, I guess it is. Yeah, the bandwidth. And then with the highs right here, I mess with the highs. It's like how bright you want your signal to be. In my opinion, I think you should go rather conservative with the highs, because if you get it real shrill sounding, kind of sounds kind of gnarly. And again, just for reference. So if you dial back your low frequencies, it's tighter, but like there's no oomph to the signal. Here's halfway. And then here's all the way. That's too much. So, you know, it's all about preference, I guess. I don't know. I kind of like everything down the middle. I'm really just focused with the mid frequencies, really. See, listen how bad that sounds. Or at the very least, unique sounding. I think that sounds terrible, so let me fix that. So that's more or less how I would have it set up right here. I'll have to watch this video back to see like what my settings are, but I dig it, man. Again, it's literally just the way my brain thinks about it, it's just kind of like an overdrive without distortion. It's literally like a boost pedal. Like think of like a Fortin grind, or like, I don't know, something like that, where like you take the signal and you crank it. But what's interesting about this and the way I'm using this pedal is I'm choosing which frequencies to boost and or to cut as it's slamming the amplifier. And that creates for a very distinct sound. It's kind of like thinking about like if you were to swap pickups all the time, but in a more drastic way. Like pickups pick up certain frequencies differently, therefore affecting your signal as it hits the front of your amplifier, and that's what you hear as an audible difference. Think of that concept on steroids with this pedal the way I'm using it. So everybody, that's just a quick casual dialing in some tones and just manipulating my sound with this pedal. Now, it makes the most sense for me for using the pedal in front of an amp sim, because using it in the effects loop of a plugin is, I think, literally impossible to the best of my knowledge. But also too, I feel as though like if I want to drastically shape the overall tone of my guitar signal, I can just do that in the plugin. But I can't do that outside of the plugin like a pedal can. Let me explain. What I'm trying to say is like I can't replicate really boosting or cutting a guitar signal into the front of my interface. I can do it digitally in front of the amplifier, like if there's an overdrive or a boost pedal in the plugin, but I'm just not able to replicate what I can do in the real world with an analog pedal into an interface in a plugin. I hope that makes sense. So it's the best of both worlds, combining digital and analog, blending the two, having a hybrid rig, if you will. So I really dig using this pedal in front of my interface. I'm really happy with the mix I came up with that intro track. I think it sounds absolutely amazing. The guitar tones sound brutal. They sound tight and articulate, yet nasty and disgusting all the same. So a huge shout out to Solar Guitars and a huge thank you to Solar Guitars for sending this pedal in. What do you guys think of this pedal? Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Last thing I'll say is I think an EQ pedal is still a very underrated pedal, and it is not that known or desirable just yet, but I feel like EQ pedals are going to slowly but surely come back around, because overdrives and boost pedals, been there, done that. I think EQ pedals were really big in like the 80s and the 90s and early 2000s perhaps, you know, individuals such as Dimebag Darrell, but I think using one of these would be the way of the future in my opinion. So that's going to do it for this video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in a video very, very soon. Later.